Yeah, sometimes the previous week we ended up training a little bit earlier to avoid the heat, just because we were going to be training for longer periods of time, and obviously we only had one match in a week. This week actually we kind of went the other way and wanted to get acclimated to the heat, so we train a little bit later in the day and let the guys sleep in a little bit more, and we do have to get used to it. That is a real circumstance that we're going to feel in these next two games in particular, but we're going to make sure to modify our training in the right way so that we can have full power on Wednesday and Saturday. And, even with our squad, as we've talked about with some of the injuries we have, we want to keep the group as fresh as possible so that in both matches we can have the output that we want to. And we're not going to adapt our style of play. We're still going to be an aggressive team. And we have to go out and keep being in our identity and take one more step. We have to take the next step towards realizing 3 points.
Checking on Pirani if he made it back and available tomorrow.
Yeah, it looks positive. Yeah, it's always a little bit of a question mark, but he's been able to get the necessary paperwork, and I believe that he'll be back tomorrow to be in the roster. But then there's the factor that he's been out for a little bit, not training, and at least with the team. So, but it's good to have a number back because we're going to need it.
And Jackson is okay with his back? Or?
He's okay. He's okay. I wouldn't expect him tomorrow night. Maybe Saturday, maybe. But tomorrow night, I wouldn't expect him in the team still.
Thanks, Troy.
Yep.
We'll go to Dave Johnson.
Hey, sure, you talk with such emotion after the game Saturday because it really felt like you felt like they worked hard enough to get something out of that. And you just mentioned the next step. How is that breakthrough going to happen? Because it felt like you were saying this team's giving you everything that you're asking.
Yeah, I absolutely don't question the mentality of the group in terms of the fight of the group. I think we see every single week. It's pretty clear to see. There's only through 18 matches been a couple halves where we haven't been as competitive as we want to be. So, I mean, we're competing at a very high level. I think we're dictating a lot of the games that we play in the way that we want them to go, and creating the chances that we want. This last match, we didn't create near enough chances. I think we can all take responsibility and accountability in that regard. But it's just critical moments in the match. And this is what I try to describe to the group, that there's critical moments that happen, not just leading up to a goal. Those are the easy ones to identify. But it's just maybe it's choices on the ball whenever we get into really good positions. Last match, I thought in particular, we really broke the lines, maybe our best all year in terms of our sequences with the ball to be able to get the ball into the final third. And in the final third, we just didn't choose the right option in the critical moment. And we have to identify that, because I think if we identify that, then we can correct it with on-field behavior and training, and then the guys will see those pictures in video, on-field in training, and then hopefully in the match they can then make the right next decisions. But we have to put it all together. It can't just be in one match we identify we need to be a little bit better with the ball, and then we have a moment on a set piece at the end of the half where we drop a goal at a critical time. It has to be every phase of play, and all these critical moments, we have to come out with the right decision and the right action. And I know the fight's going to be there from the group. I know that.
And how critical, points are important every point of the year, but as Steve just mentioned, the heat's coming into a factor. How important is this stretch right here to be that launching pad forward?
Yeah, I think June and July is a critical time period for us. And we recognize that coming out of the mid-year review that we did in the international break, and saying where are the areas we have to improve in, and knowing that if we can make those improvements and start to put some points on the board in June and July, then when we come out of Leagues Cup, we're in a position through those last 9-10 matches to really make a push, not only for a playoff spot, but maybe even a seed. And we're a few steps away from that right now. We have to take one step at a time, but this is a critical point in the year. It is. And we need to realize points in June and July so that we can stay in the hunt, if not work our way up the table prior to Leagues Cup.
And again, with all this heat, you use music in practice. Have you started playing Christmas carols to try to make people feel like it's cold? Maybe it's beginning to look like Christmas, or let it snow.
I haven't tried that. I haven't tried that tactic yet. I'll have to think about that one. I'm gonna think about that one and politely decline right now that request on the music.
Thanks, Fred.
Next, we'll go to Bruce Murray.
Hey, Troy. Um, Aligning with what you're saying, Jared Stroud said to me last week, I played at St. Louis and games were so easy and we were just banging points off, we're killing people. And he says, we got in the first round, we got knocked out. So maybe teams have to work a little bit, suffer a little bit, see the same mistake once or twice or sometimes even 3 times. And then maybe that second half of the season, everything comes together. Is that the message I'm hearing?
Yeah, I think that's really well said by yourself, Bruce, as well as Jared. That's Jared provides that perspective in our locker room as well, and his experiences and his career are really invaluable in this league, because this league is man, it ebbs and flows. But what happens though is that you see the teams that continue to stay in their identity and fine tune the things that aren't right, as long as they stay on that path and they don't get so deflated by results when they don't go your way. It's that type of group that has the mentality that can stay in the hunt. And if we get into the playoffs, and that's something that we are really, that's our goal this season, is to get back into the playoffs for DC United, then I think we give ourselves a chance. And we're a team you can see every week. Teams don't like playing against us. But we have to take that next step where we're not just a hard team to compete with, but a team that the opponent can't beat.
Thank you.
Next, we go to Donald Wine.
Thank you. Thanks, Troy, for your time. 6 weeks ago, you guys played Atlanta down in Atlanta. You had the Benteke hat trick. Unfortunately, it's the last time that you guys were in the win column, but you've had some decent results since then. What's the biggest adjustment that you have to make to kind of get back in the win column, especially given that you're going to an opponent where you have seen them play and you've seen them win?
Yeah. I mean, I think I alluded to that earlier, and I'll just double down on it. It's every single moment in the match, there's a chance for us to create some momentum and be in our way, and not allow the opponent to create momentum. And in these moments, we have to choose the right options, we have to make the right decisions, and we have to have the right action and behavior. And I think if we can do that in our way, and not just for 70 minutes, or not just for 30 or 35 minutes of a half, then we can probably give ourselves a much greater chance of realizing 3 points. And that's what needs to happen.
Off-topic question. Obviously Euros is going on right now. Copa America starts this week. How hyper-aware will you guys be with these tournaments? Or the guys watching it in the downtime at the training center? Are you getting a chance to watch some of these matches, and what have you thought so far?
I'll be honest. Me personally, I haven't had a ton of chances just to sit down and enjoy the game and just watch it to watch. I'll catch a snapshot here or there, or just see the results. But I can tell you that the guys are watching it right now in our facility after training, and I think they're enjoying every second of it right now. It's such a high level to watch, and a lot of them have either been there before or aspire to get there.
Great, thanks.
We'll go back to Dave Johnson.
And Dave, I think you're on mute. Yeah, there you go.
40 years of broadcasting, this is still new to me, how to unmute myself. Just the thumbnail on Atlanta. Obviously, they've had a coaching change since, and that, can sometimes be a variable, but just your thoughts about Atlanta.
Yeah, I think that they're in a similar position as we are in some ways. Their roster, they have many guys that are out on international duty. They've made some transfers, and then they have a couple of injuries. So I think that they're trying to work through that and find the right way to navigate those challenges. Obviously made a coaching change, but Rob Valentino is someone that's been at the club for a number of years, and there's a reason that he's been at the club, is because he's quality, and he's going to give that group, I think, a really big boost. I could see it the other night when they played Houston. I mean, they're fighting to the very end, and I fully expect that they're not going to be a team that comes here and makes any excuses themselves. It's going to be both teams need 3 points, and both teams are going to have to go for that on Wednesday night, and I know Atlanta will be prepared, as will we.